Hello, friends, and welcome to another Killteam podcast video review. This one is for the Ratling team. If you haven't already, also swing by and check out Travis's review of the Rekkas. She's pretty sick. Also, of course, thanks to GW for sending a preview copy. Let's get on with it. The overview of the team. We've got 11 models, which could be all Ratlings, or it could include up to 3 Ogren or Bulgren. For each Ogren that you don't take, you get 1 free ploy. So it's kind of similar to the way that Deathcore works, where you can trade models for free ploys. But in this case, it's essentially you either get an Ogren or you get a Ratling and a free ploy. Generally, across the stats for the team, every model has 6 wounds, 5-inch movement, and their melee is generally 3 attacks, hitting on 5s with 1-2 damage. So not exactly their strong suit. Their faction rule is Scarper, which allows a Ratling to dash, and that is after an enemy activation. You can't do it every single time an enemy activates, it's every other time. There are tons of specialist options, which makes the team very flexible. So if you're the kind of person that wants a just special rule for everyone on the team, this is a great option for you. The specialists generally snipe hitting on 3s with their snipe profile, whereas the basic warriors hit on 2s. So you do trade some straight up shooting power for your special abilities, but there are some tools to kind of work around that, which we'll see later on in the review as well. All snipers also have a mobile profile, so you're not 100% just trapped in heavy weapon land. You do have an option to move and shoot, although it's typically not great. A lot of it is hitting on 4s. There's a few mobile profiles that hit on 3s, and a couple very valuable ones that can hit on 2s. More on that later. Moving right along into the operatives here, we have the Ratling Fixer. The Ratling Fixer is the leader of the team. He gives you free equipment, so you take him every time because you have to, and because of that, you get a 5th slot of the equipment that you can bring. Additionally, your Fixer can mark an enemy target as a strategic gambit, and when you mark that target, the rest of your team has lethal 5 against that target, which is great with the amount of devastating 3 that you have on the team. Your Ratling Fixer can be equipped with a sniper rifle or a battle rifle. The sniper rifle has a stationary and a mobile profile of 4 attacks, hitting on 2, 3-3, devastating 3 heavy for the stationary, and 4 attacks on 3, 3-4 for the mobile. Not bad. The battle rifle is 4 attacks on 2, 3-4, and you can just jet all over the field and shoot that thing. So that's one of your great little examples of some mobile firepower you got there. Moving right along, we've got the Ratling Big Shot. This guy hits like a truck. He is essentially your gunner on the team. He's just a big sniper. He's equipped with a tank stop rifle, which has a mobile profile of 4 attacks on 3, 4-4, devastating 1, heavy dash only, and piercing. The stationary profile is 4 attacks on 2, 4-2, devastating 4, heavy, piercing 1, and severe. So as you can see, this is really a hard-hitting profile. It is heavy or heavy dash only, but you can get a lot more movement out of that with the Scarper rule. So you can kind of dash around a corner to line up a shot on someone and then shoot your stationary, and it's just fine. The Ratling Big Shot has no other special abilities. Moving right along, we've got a Ratling Spotter, the first of many specialist snipers. The stationary profile that we're going to see on all of these specialist snipers is 4 attacks on 3, 3-3, devastating 3, and heavy, as well as a mobile profile of 4 attacks on 4, 3-4, which really probably shouldn't be taking a ton of those shots because that's not great. The Spotter has a support action, which is called Spot. Essentially, you choose an enemy once during... so you choose a visible enemy, and then once during this turning point, another Ratling within 3 of the Spotter gains Seek Light, and the target can't be obscured. In my opinion, that seems mostly helpful for the Spotter to use on himself, because otherwise it's kind of high maintenance. The Ratling Hardbit is potentially my favorite operative on the team. He's very silly. Equipped with a battle rifle and a knife, he is very mobile, so he can be zipping around and still hitting on 3s with some decently reliable shooting. I mean, he still is a Ratling, but he's got a little melee on him, and we'll talk about that in a second. The battle rifle is 4 attacks on 3s, 3-4 damage. Nothing too crazy, but it's not horrible. The knife is 3 attacks on 3, and it's 3/5 balanced. So he's by far the best melee operative on the team. When he charges, he can do so from conceal, and he gains another attack and brutal when he charges. So that becomes 4 attacks on 3, 3/5 balanced brutal, which is pretty crazy for such a short combatant. Also, amusingly, if you attack the hard bit and he has light or heavy terrain within his control range, he fights first. So he might give you a little bite if you try to sneak up on him. Really not terrible for a melee operative, but he does only have 6 wounds, so you can't really just be running out there trying to fight people with him. Next in the line, we've got the Ratling Raider. This little dude's got a sniper rifle and a grapnel launcher. His sniper rifle is suppressed, so he's got permanent silent. It hits a little bit less hard, as we'll get into in a second. He also has a dagger. Not amazing, but it exists. The suppressed sniper rifle has 2 profiles like all the others. The mobile one is 4 attacks on 4, 3/4 silent. The stationary is 4 attacks on 3, 3/3 devastating 1, heavy and silent. His dagger is 3 attacks on 4, 2/3 damage. And he has a grapnel launcher ability, which is somewhat similar to the commando grap, but not quite as, like, he can't exactly zip across the map because you have to choose a point within 6, and then you can end somewhere within X of that point, which is equal to the height of the point plus 1. So if you look at a point that is like 4 inches tall, you can end 5 inches away from that. So you can really slingshot around and get places. It takes a little bit of getting used to make good use of it, but this guy is an absolute unit, super good. Also, he's a sniper, so you can grab a launcher to a crazy place and start taking silent shots, and that's probably going to be unpleasant. The Ratling Sneak is similar. He has the same exact suppressed sniper rifle as the Raider, but he has his own version of the Scarper faction rule instead of Scarper. This one is called Evade. Evade allows you to interrupt an enemy activation and perform a dash. So you could potentially Scarper and Evade it like back to back, essentially, which is kind of neat. Or if you Scarper and then you wouldn't have a chance to Scarper again, this guy could evade and then you can go back to Scarpering on the next activation. Also, this guy can adjust optics to ignore obscuring, which is kind of nice. Moving right along, we have the Ratling Vox Thief. Just like everyone else, he is, in fact, a sniper. He is also your comms. So, essentially, he's just a sniper that can hand off an APL to a visible ally within 6. Nothing too crazy here. We've seen this sort of thing all over the place. Next in line, we have the Ratling Stash Master. Surprise, surprise. The Stash Master is also a sniper. Like all the other specialist snipers, he hits on 3s with his stationary and 4s while mobile. Also, this fine fella can do a mission action or pickup for free, and if you take the ammo cache universal equipment, he grants you an additional ammo cache. What a bargain. Next in line, we have the Ratling Bomber. He's not just a bomber, he's a sniper too. He's got a crazy grenade that has a 3-inch range. It's 5 attacks on 3, blast 1, heavy, reposition only, limited, piercing, and saturate. Absolutely hits super duper hard. It's quite a crazy grenade there. He also has a slightly better melee profile with his bionic arm, which is 3 attacks on 5, 3/4 damage. Not reliable, but in a pinch you can go for a Hail Mary melee coup de grace. Not, like I said, not amazing, but it's something. Additionally, if you take the Universal Mine equipment when you have the Ratling Bomber in your list, it is upgraded to 2d3 plus 3 damage, and friendly Ratlings can't trip the mine. Note that Ogrins and Bulgrins can trip the mine, so you gotta be careful with that. He also has 2 tripwires, which you can see pictured here. They don't do any damage, but they do end an enemy's it's not actually an activation, it just ends the action, and it subtracts an APL until the end of that operative's next activation. So it's pretty potent in disrupting movement and disrupting action economy, but it doesn't do any damage. The Ratling Battle Mutt is next up. My question to you, is this a mutt or is it a goat? Because this dog absolutely rocks. The downsides, it can't do any mission actions, it can't do gather, it can't do anything special like that, but it's like some of the other dogs are crazy fast. This one moves 6, so it's a little faster than the other operatives on your team. But the thing that makes it so awesome is its early warning ability, where essentially it barks to protect its allies from incoming attacks. Early warning essentially, whenever a enemy moves within 2 inches of one of your friendlies, and that friendly is within 6 inches of the dog, that friendly model can either do a free dash or fall back for up to 3 inches in either case. It has to end outside of 3 inches or not visible. But it's a nice little way to set up a trap where you dangle a model, an enemy tries to charge you, and then the battle mutt barks, and then you kind of scurry away. To make it even crazier, you could Scarper after that, and then just slingshot somebody into an absolutely crazy position that someone was not expecting at all when they thought that they were going to charge and kill you. The dog, the mutt, also has 4 attacks on 3, 2, 4, so another one of the best melee operatives in the team. He does only have 4 wounds, so probably shouldn't be out there fighting with the dog also. The last of the Ratling operatives is the basic sniper. You guessed it, he is in fact a sniper. This one is your basic warrior though. The stationary profile is 4 attacks on 2s, which is actually pretty nice. 3 damage, devastating 3, and heavy. He also has a mobile profile of 4 attacks on 3, 3, 4, which is, you know, not bad. Not bad at all. You could technically spam these guys if you wanted and just bring 10 snipers in a fixer. Probably not amazing, but possible and kind of funny. If you do build the box as is, it lets you build all of the specialists and still have 1 normal sniper, which is fantastic. It's definitely something that you could consider taking, even though you have so many options and you definitely can't take all of them every game. The Ratling sniper is a good contender. Departing from the Ratlings, moving into the big guys, we've got Ogren. The simplest option for big guys. There's no alternate builds. It's just Ogren, flat out. 16 wounds, 6-inch move, 5 up save. He's got a Ripper gun for 4 attacks on 3, 4, 5 damage, range 8, and punishing. He's got a bayonet, which is also 4 attacks on 3, 4, 5. So basically, whether he's shooting or fighting, he hits pretty hard. He's kind of tanky. He doesn't really have armor though, so he can take a couple hits, but not like a ton. Couple datasheet abilities here. 2 of them are kind of limitations. Slow-witted, costs an extra APL to do a mission action, except operate hatch, thankfully. Brute, you can't take cover behind light cover, essentially. We've seen that before with the blooded Ogren. And then he also has a bayonet charge ability, which deals D3 plus 1 damage on the charge, kind of the same thing as Avalanche of Muscle. Additionally, built out of the same box, if you do get a box of Ogren, it is the same one that you can build Bulgren with. I haven't yet tried to magnetize them. It looks like it would be really hard, and I don't know if a Ripper gun, that's what it looks like, would fit over that armor, so we'll see. If you've tried it and you know it does or doesn't work, you can leave that in the comments and let us know. The Bulgren has a 6-inch move, a 4-up save, and 16 wounds is the basic stat line, so he's a little bit armored compared to the other one. He has the same kind of limitations as the Ogren, which is the brute and slow-witted keywords. So he has to spend extra APL to do mission actions besides opening doors, and can't hide behind light cover. There are two choices of shields, and for their special rules, the Brute shield gives you double parry. That's kind of like the smaller one. And the Slab shield is the one in the picture, and improves you to a 3-up armor save. So it makes you a little bit more bullet resistant. You also have 2 main weapon options available to every Bulgren. There is a Grenadier Gauntlet, which is 4 attacks on 4, 3, 5, blast 2. And a Power Maul, which is a melee option. 4 attacks on 3, 4, 6 shock. Pretty solid. If you do that, I mean, you can take crack grenades because you've got extra equipment, potentially. And then you can have the best of both worlds, where you can have a big shield, have a shock maul, and also throw crack grenades at people. Pretty cool. The shields also have different melee profiles, so if you do take the Grenadier Gauntlet, you still have whatever your shield is for a melee profile. The Brute shield is 4 attacks on 3, 3, 4. Now keep in mind that comes with the double parry, so it's pretty potent. The Slab shield is 4 attacks on 4, 3, 4. So you really only want to take that if you think people aren't going to be trying to fight you all the time, even though it is the much cooler looking shield. When it comes to their strategic ploys, the first one is Shifty, and that gives super conceal to your whole team. Obviously, this does not apply to the Ogren or the Bulgren, but all of your Ratlings can be scurrying around and peeking corners behind light barricades and other light cover and be just fine. Totally safe there. The next one is Sniper Positions, and that is all stationary sniper profiles become silent as long as there are no enemies within 6 inches of the sniper, and the sniper has heavy cover in their control range. You can't really be on top of those ruins that have the light cover up top and get that, so you have to be on the ground or like on the strongholds, and from the strongholds you're probably not going to have some visibility problems because these models are very short. But Sniper Positions is decent. I think it would be obnoxious if it was easier to have team-wide silent snipers, so it seems like it's in a pretty good spot. Next up, we have Crack Shots, which is all of your shooting attacks gain balance as long as the shooter as long as the shooter has not repositioned, fallen back, or charged in the activation in which they shoot, and the target is not within 6 inches. The last strategic ploy is Frontline Assault, and this one is for the Ogrens and the Bulgrens. They gain balanced when shooting, fighting, or retaliating while within enemy territory or while within 3 inches of an objective marker. Important to note, it is just within, it is not wholly within, so you can tow in to enemy territory and gain balanced on your big guys. Pretty good. When it comes to the Firefight ploys, we have Shoot and Hide, which is exactly what it sounds like. You can shoot and then flip back to conceal. The requirement is you have to be outside of 3 inches of enemies or not visible to any enemies. So if you're kind of out in the open and there's only one enemy that can see you and you shoot them and they die, you can use Shoot and Hide to flip back to conceal. Next up is Larcenous, which is secretly one of their stronger ploys, which allows you to perform pickup/mission actions on things you don't control and do so even while within control range of enemy operatives. So you could, if it's like that upload mission, you can have just a random goon charge an enemy, even if they have 3 or 4 APL on the point, like it's a Space Marine banner or something, and you can just steal their point, and that is very potent. So you gotta watch out around these guys. They're gonna steal your keys out from under you and mess you up. One of the other Firefight ploys is Survival Instincts, which is similar to Transhuman Physiology, has a little added benefit as well. You can use it to upgrade a normal save to a crit, or to block 2 normal hits with a crit, and this applies against melee and shooting. It does not apply to Ogren and Bulgren, though. So even though they have 6 wounds, the Survival Instincts can potentially make them feel like they just kind of scurry out of harm's way a little more often than you'd think. The final Firefight ploy is Sharp Shot. This is also very strong. It allows you to shoot at an enemy that is within control range of an ally. So if you have a Bulgren with a super shield, for example, charge into an enemy, tie him up, you can still shoot that enemy with Sharp Shot. So that is quite potent. When it comes to the equipment, the first one is Purloined Ration. Second, Breakfast never tasted so good. Any operative can enjoy a little snack before taking a shot to get a +1 to hit bonus, which essentially can transform any of your specialists into a full-blown sniper. So now if your bomber needs to snipe someone across the map in a pinch, you can just have a little quick snack and boom, he's back in business. Also, when it comes to things that enhance your snipers, there is a Lucky Round, which is great because you get to declare its use after you roll your dice to gain Severe. So if you just need to chip away like 3 health at someone that's wounded pretty bad and you roll your dice and it's not looking so hot, you can spend your Lucky Round and all of a sudden it's a crit that does 3 damage, and that's pretty potent, especially that you can see your dice before you use it. It doesn't stack with the Purloined Ration, so you can't put all of your eggs in one basket in terms of one shot. That's just way better than the rest. Next up is the most hilarious equipment option probably across all of Killteam. It is called Stolen Goods. So essentially, they steal someone's command points when you select this. Your team does. It could be yours, it could be your enemy's. You roll a d3 and you consult a table. On a 1, you lose a command point. On a 2, you gain a command point. And on a 3, your opponent loses a command point. And then the equipment has no further effect. Very silly. The last equipment option is Improvised Armor. And this is reinforced armor for the big boys. It makes them crit save on 5s, which is not bad at all. Especially with the Ogren, with a 5-up save in the first place, every single one of their saves is a crit save. Important to note that your team does get extra equipment from your fixer, like we mentioned at the beginning, and there are several things that synergize with your extra equipment. Like the Bomber gives you safer mines, the Stash Master gives you extra ammo caches. You definitely want to be super vigilant. I think a large part of the strategy with this team comes around using equipment properly, because if you can shut down and control your lanes, these squishy 6-wound operatives are going to go a lot longer. Overall thoughts, these models are literally so small that you will have line of sight problems if you're not careful, but the team is really fun and really flavorful. The biggest bummer is definitely that it doesn't even include any Ogren, which is, I mean, like, we know GW has the single Ogren sprue because it came with the Dark Tide game. Would have been pretty cool if they just threw that in with a box. Maybe we'll see that if they repackage it, maybe we won't, but either way, one Ogren maybe isn't enough anyways, so it's probably worth getting a whole box. Speaking of which, running all Ratlings is potentially not awful, but it's probably a lot easier to play if you do just pick up a box of Ogren and Bolgren. Like I said, I haven't ever tried to magnetize them, but it looks like a challenge just looking at the sprue. So, thanks for listening. Let me know what you think, and we will see you next time.